Familiar Ties, written by Kathryn Jayne, narrated by Helen Birchall. Prologue. There is no denying it. Hearing it is the year 224 can be quite confusing, especially if you don't know the real truth of history. But I'm not talking BC or AD. No, I'm talking OD or Ola Dei, meaning all seen. It's also, quite aptly, the abbreviation used for an overdose, which is something we all experienced a few hundred years ago. An overdose of the unseen. Our world forever changed, but you won't find that in your history books. Before our year counter reset, your time ended, or at least it did for us. You continued on, unaware of what actually happened, and if my tales make it out of this region, then no doubt they will be passed over as fable. But this is our truth. This world is our truth. As with most ends, it comes as a complete force of devastation. The doomsday clock leapt to midnight and the world as we knew it ended. But it wasn't missiles flying or chemicals assailing the sky. It was those who had existed unseen amongst us since the beginning, stepping into the light and making themselves known. These creatures, being thought only to be spun from the minds of fabulers like myself, had grown weary of living in the shadows, hiding their true nature, and mankind fell to them in the blink of an eye, and a new order was forced upon us. But things changed too quickly, and the devastation was too great. That was when the perennials came. Remember the story of how man obtained fire? Remember the gods of old? That was actually the perennials. Invoking their powerful magics, these beings sacrificed themselves to rewrite history, turning back the clock for many minds and reaching into the great source of all to ensure no one on your side would remember the truth. They took it upon themselves to banish our land, remove it from sight and history, and seal it within as many of the creatures from your myths and legends as they could gather. Certain people in your history have worked alongside them, hunting these beings and directing their fate accordingly, sometimes relocating them to the island of Mython. The problem is, Mython is a big island, and those of us here still have tales and books detailing the true history in all its horrific glory. Having seen how creatures have ravished the land, suffice to say our beginning was not an era of peace and harmony. While the world outside had forgotten we had ever existed and moved into their new century, we eventually, through wars, rebellions and negotiations, found our own balance of sorts, one that is maintained by the most powerful of each race, those with elder blood coursing through their veins. Our country is divided into territories, each with its own elected leader who reports issues of note to the council, a collection of 13 species predominantly consisting of elder bloodlines from the main preternatural lines such as shifter, fae, vampire, magical innate, elementals, celestials, and so on. Humans, of course, included, but we elect our own representatives just as any clan without such a sovereign did. The only missing faction is the perennial, because none exist anymore, at least none that we are aware of. After creating order in our world and yours, it is said they invoked the last of their magic to seal our land from discovery. Over 200 years have passed since the wars died down, and an uneasy truce was formed. The balance appears to be working. Now life has returned to normal, or at least a manner of normal only possible here. Humans and preternatural are sharing space and resources, and the council are doing what is needed to maintain peace. As I mentioned before, I am a fabler, and it is my calling to tell the tales of our people. My name is Kathryn Jayne, and the tale here is just one of the many lives that call to me. Hopefully, what limited powers I have will guide it to your hands. Be it fiction in your eyes or not, these stories must be told.